What's up, guys? It's Shani with Healing Elements here in the infirmary. People with COVID, including myself, but I'm feeling fine. Definitely had a symptom or two, but here to do a reading, and I'm going to just go for it. We're going to do a reading from several decks. So the Oracle, the Shapeshifters is one of the decks, and Angels and Ancestor Oracle cards is another deck I'll be using. Oracle of Shadows and Light. New one, I love this one. Amenti Oracle, gorgeous deck. These little affirmation, positive affirmation cards. She believed she could, so she did. The Oracle of the Radiant Sun. And then Mermaids and Dolphins. So for starters, I will go ahead and get a few cards out of this one. It's my newest. It's so beautiful. Beautiful design on the back of every card, and just really neat. Beautiful. This one is I Am Peaceful. I keep on getting that for myself because it's been stressful. A lot of the family members are really sick with COVID, so I've been, definitely not honoring staying peaceful within myself and staying grounded. Most of the time, sure, but there's been some hectic moments back and forth to the hospital and stuff like that. So that is definitely for you guys. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of, energy that is ebbing and flowing, both positive and negative, and it can be an extreme level. Since I think Leo season began, we've really been experiencing a lot of energies that are just tower moments and or moments in which we are clearing a lot, whether or not that is tangibly, like spring cleaning when it's not even spring yet, or emotionally, or just having things happen in our life, like prayers for my girlfriend who broke her back and got fucked up, of course. There's another girlfriend who had an apartment all squared away and it ended up being a scam. I mean, there's just a lot of things going on, collectively, also globally. People don't believe that COVID is real. My experience, COVID is very real. And, there were 2 people fully vaccinated and 2 with 1 shot, 1 non-vaccinated in my household. All of us have it positive in all different levels. So in any case, let's cut the deck and see what we can get you, and then we'll go from there with the other decks. 2, 3 cards, 3, and this will be things that you can keep in mind as your mantra moving forward. Okay, I live in truth. So speaking your truth and being about it. So being about the truth, speaking about what you believe in, and following through. So, say if you are perhaps a fitness guru or personal trainer, living out that moral and mentorship role that you have. So speak your truth, live your truth, more and more authentically is the message for you as we go on. And it's hard to get rid of all of the judgment associated with being authentic, but as you release the fear of being judged, I know it's helped me to really step into, a role that is elevating as I go. So I spread joy. This is a beautiful card. Spreading joy and just doing what I believe is a big, huge part of our physical existence. And I think one of the main core meanings to life is to be joyful, spread love, spread unconditional acceptance, and, walk in other people's shoes, that Christ consciousness, what would Jesus do type thing as a metaphor. Buddha, if you want to put it that way, just really living in a joyful state, even when times are chaotic like this. It's like, if you have a moment in which you feel joyful, like now, spread it, right? So I'm trying to spread joy, inspiration, something like that. I am, and it comes up, I am peaceful. So I think that this is a vibe that everybody can definitely use after a 1.5 years of our globe totally suffering from a atrocious virus and all the things, the repercussions that have come after that. So remaining peaceful has been difficult, and I just want to encourage you to do so, because this global awakening, I think, is really, as I always preach, and a lot of people do, it's a blessing in disguise. It is something that we needed, everything that we found out, beside COVID even, civil rights and politically, being divided and all of this turmoil. I think we have come to a conclusion, hopefully all of us, that fighting war is not the answer. Peace, make love, not war. Peace is the answer. All right, so guys, we'll put this as your mantra themes to live by for this reading out of the Amenti Oracle deck, and then I will go ahead and film the rest over here with the camera looking at the cards. Alright guys, so the first deck that we will be using to pull some new messages is by Lucy Cavendish. It is beautiful. I enjoy her decks. I always plug them on my channel, and I just adore the very, thoughtful detail she takes in creating messages and themes, of course, with a different spin on it. So here we go. We'll get you, after we cut the deck, a few cards. The deck itself is called Oracle of the Shadow and Light, and it's very beautifully designed. The images are by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. So here's your first card, guys, called The Dress of Alchemy, and it says release your power. So you're stepping into feeling a bunch of elevated, abilities right now, and perhaps are just tapping into spirit more than ever. And this is asking you, rather than being fearful and or perhaps negating it, asking you to put it on you and wear it as a dress. You have to, of course, be comfortable. So take on that in which you are comfortable. And here is your second card, Death and the Maiden, talking about boundaries that have been crossed and violated, and or personal invasion of space, and or just people and or situations crossing you in a way in which is not to your tolerance. So asking you to step into your power, wear that dress of alchemy. You can change anything that is around you that is suffering, to your own path. And that could be that you're missing somebody that has crossed over. This is the Shallow Grave card. Says that you are missing someone, whether that is a relationship, of course, that is still potential to become again, or someone who has crossed over to the other side from death itself. You are missing somebody, and that may be exactly what is causing some sort of, dissonance. This is the Mermaids and Dolphins deck by Dorian Virtue, and I'll get you a couple of cards after I shuffle. Speaking of positive affirmations and or directions that you could take if you resonate, as which to go. And to reiterate about the card Shallow Grave that we got from the Lucy Cavendish deck, Oracles of the Shadow and the Light, grief is something very serious, and sometimes there is a stigma attached to grief, and it reminds me of stigma attached to mental health. It is so important, in my opinion, to embrace people that are in grief. So bless you if you are in grief. This card says break free, saying to try new adventures and ventures, experiences in order to grow and learn. So perhaps if that does resonate with you, grieving something that is lost, whether that be a person or relationship or something of the past, maybe normalcy of the past, then try to break free and try to do different experiences that might allow you to, have some joy and find some comfort. Or if nothing else, will keep your mind away from focusing on the fact that you are in grief, because again, grief is serious and it is to be validated. So, blessings again for anyone out there that is suffering a loss of any kind. And of course, we got another double word, synchronicity of alchemy. So you got in the first deck, dress and alchemy, and this is all about the same thing, working with your magic, working with the potential to help yourself and others around you with a divine, connection to spirit, and to use that going forward. And this card, friendship, is, sending a message to you. Perhaps connect with like-minded souls, of course. If it is hard to find like-minded souls, you can connect in groups. I know I've been introduced to some groups actually regarding grief lately that my mother and I will try. And so we're going to get you a couple of cards to maybe give you messages from your ancestors, things to keep in mind that are important, that are, truths of divine wisdom from way back, from history, from your ancestral line, from things that they, perhaps your ancestors, and this card and this, these cards in this deck represents, giving you that divine wisdom passed down from different, ancestors, because we are all connected. So go ahead and shuffle this. This is by Kyle Gray. The ancestors, it's called Angels and Ancestors. I always forget the angels. So Angels and Ancestors deck, the Oracle card deck by Kyle Gray, and get you a few cards, about 4, and go from the top there. Here we go. I always love these cards. It's a lot of wisdom that we may have been told before, but of course we need to be reminded of these principles. And this card is beautiful. It's the Sage card of the Sage. This card brings a message of being committed to a cause or being devoted. So, sending you accolades and validation that you have been committed to something, or asking you to put forth more commitment towards something that you are, you know, actively pursuing. So, being committed like the Sage, and like this card, the Drum card, states there are cycles, there are rhythms to life. And part of the rhythms and cycles that we experience can be felt in our dreams. So, this card is all about dreams and journey, and it's asking us to journey toward, insightful meanings and gather and uncover information, perhaps in your dreams, abstract or not, that can be important for your life path, your soul journey, right? And then follow the guidance, even again, as abstract or potentially strange as it may be. For instance, if you dream of a museum, perhaps go and see a museum in the next couple months and see what kind of other synchronicity signs and, little breadcrumbs on your soul journey that will bring you. And this is beautiful, the High Priestess. So, a lot of messages in this reading for, mystic power and capitalizing on the magic that you are able to produce. So, it says harness your mystic power and just align with your center, that inner guidance, your light, and just place your focus and your intent truly on all things positive. So, the High Priestess is able to, you know, vibrate at a high frequency and relate to others that are doing so, because she is able to, again, think of things in a positive light. Or if she, is in some sort of stage that she is not, then she is quickly able to be resilient. The High Priestess in this deck is resilient and able to look at things in a positive light. So to, back up a little bit, like that blessing in disguise vibe that I talked to and you in the beginning of the reading, the High Priestess card lets you know you are able to do this. So even if you think it's impossible, if you're pessimistic, it can happen. And this card is the Shield Maiden. It says make plans and focus. Speaking of strategizing and kind of retreating, not as something that you are, surrendering to or giving up in a long standing fight, but, more so it is time to place a strategy, before you. And before you move on, this card just, gives you that message, the advice to, take some time and assess what steps you need to take to arrive at something that is going to come out, with a tangible result that is quick. As soon as you are able to take your time and focus, getting the right steps in place and the right things in motion to do so, then after that, it will make the work and the, accumulation of something that is actually tangible better and come to fruition faster. So this next couple of cards, you guys, is also from Lucy Cavendish. It is the Oracle of the Shape Shifters deck and is neat. It does feature a lot of the cards have animals, shape shifting, spirit animals type thing, and, themes that are associated with that particular animal and or shape shifting. Like it has the wolf moon and a few others that are just really cool, like beetle armor. So let's see if we can get any cards to give you advice or any positive messages that you resonate with to help you out at this time. And they're just gorgeous. Again, the illustration is also done by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. So here is the first card for you guys. It is, yes, nice, the Golden Phoenix, talking about resilience, talking about time for you to, again, elevate your magic, your mystical power to be the Phoenix. If you've been burned, if you've been going through a downtrodden or just a really, negative spiral, whether you induced it or not, this is asking you to be resilient, to perhaps tie up loose ends, to finish, what was unfinished, or perhaps something is going to come back into your face, as the card says, on the Golden Phoenix is talking about something burst back into your life. So finish up, tie up the loose ends. And this is a beautiful little worm talking about self-care. Take care of yourself all the while you are figuring out all of these intricacies and putting in the work, putting the plans in motion, like the Shield Maiden card that came up, just letting you know as you elevate your, experience with spirit and ascend farther into maybe a spiritual awakening journey, or just interested in more and more esoteric or otherwise, ancient wisdom type of concepts, take care of yourself, protect yourself with all of that good stuff that you know to do. Hopefully crystals and or self-care, aromatherapy, different baths and oils and things that you can do, cleaning up your space, making your altar varied and different, and or what calls and appeals to you, like different charms that are meaningful, like from past ancestors or relatives. This is very important to surround yourself with love, especially if you are feeling isolated and or persecuted by your, newfound spiritual path. And this is the Frog Princess. Speaking of a message that will be coming in from probably a mentor, a counterpart of yours, a friend, or otherwise, that is going to give you advice. And this message today, if you resonate, is asking you to heed their warning and to take the advice, with a trustworthy, you know, energy about it. This is something you can trust, whatever they are able to convey to you. Perhaps it's an experience that they had that is similar to the one you're going through now, and or they are there to help and not hinder you, and you can use your own intuitive guidance to decipher whether or not these intentions and this advice is something that rings true to your soul. So not everyone, of course, is going to give you advice, so take advice that is to be heeded, but take it with a grain of salt, digest it, reflect on it, and use your intuition to find out if it is something helpful to you, and then take that advice and practically use it. And this one is all about strange companions in stranger places. Speaking of the fact that sometimes we are going to find ourselves in really strange circumstances, of course, and with, not the usual suspects that we are used to being as our companions and trustworthy guidance. So use your spirit team, use everything that you can, and persevere in that manner as far as using your creativity. The card says, use total creativity and inspiration of something unorthodox and bright that you can, anything that you can, to suffice through those times that make you feel that you are with strange companions in stranger places. So here we are with the last deck that I'll use. This is the She Believed She Could, So She Did little positive affirmation deck I love. I got it for Christmas, either last Christmas or year before, from my daughter, my Leo, my Alyssa, Jordan, my firstborn. So this is gorgeous. They have a lot of quotes from different, people throughout history, and they are obviously beautiful affirmations and quotes indeed. And this one says, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day, by Jim Rohn. So I love the little messages that they say. Of course, you can use them. I look at them pretty much every week, at least try to just tip one or just pick one for myself. I love that it is a variety of different people throughout history. Of course, on the cards, a lot of them are just beautiful. So we'll get a couple for you guys. This one is simple but beautiful. Be strong, be fearless, be beautiful, by Misty Copperlin. And now we have, if you want to succeed, you should strike out on new paths rather than travel the worn paths of accepted success. Yes, that is very true. Very, very true indeed. Sometimes venturing out in an unorthodox or just not stereotypical way is scary, but when you do and you succeed, it just makes you feel all that more fulfilled, just a real authentic and genuine vibe. And this is one of my favorite cards, absolutely, in the entire deck, by Maya Angelou. May she rest in peace, and by the way, was a fellow Pisces like myself. It says, into a daybreak that's wondrously clear I rise, by Maya Angelou. I love that. Very beautiful, guys, and I thank you very much for sticking with me, especially my nose is a little bit stuffy because I have that little bit of a COVID. Not much at all, though. My energy is good to do readings, so probably will be putting out a few more of them. So I really thank you for everything, for subscribing, and I wish you blessings, love, and light, guys. Bye-bye.